The foundation that is leading development on ICP just made some major ecosystem announcements that are showing the people that are building within the ICP ecosystem and some of the things that they are leveraging to make the crypto space truly more interoperable, better, and just more user-friendly from a high level, which I think is a very, very good thing. This, in my opinion, is the key to crypto. If you kind of look and were to map something like crypto onto the evolution of the internet, you will see the internet moved very, very similarly, right? I mean, there was obviously a lot of very difficult and complicated things in terms of using a computer. And now it's like you press the button and it just kind of works, right? And so that is kind of the direction that I think we're needing to move in crypto. You can see over the past several years, we've seen so many improvements with this, and we're actually seeing a lot of this coming through the ICP ecosystem. Things like chain key technology and using the the pass keys on your computer, having various things like the true interoperability at a protocol level. There's a lot of these things that ICP is showing that is really, really cool. So I want to show you kind of what some of those specific things are and highlight some of those projects because they are pretty cool, as well as just give you a general overall kind of review of what we're seeing out of ICP price, what could be next, all of that type of stuff. But first off, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at some of the things that are happening in the ICP ecosystem that is really showing kind of some exciting progress here. So first off, we can see ICP Hub Egypt actually made the announcement that Litecoin is now integrating directly with ICP smart contracts, joining the growing list of sovereign cross-chain integrations alongside Sui, Near, Solana, Cardano, XRP, Tau, and more. Of course, we know things like Bitcoin and Ethereum are directly integrated as well. You can see here that this is not a bridge, this is protocol level interoperability, sovereign wallets you actually own, cross-chain communication rails, all of this type of stuff. So Litecoin now is essentially part of the expanded universe, we can call it, of crypto that is directly integrated with each other using ICP, which I think is very, very cool and a really great thing to see. So overall, this is one of those things that I'm going to be looking very, very closely as a lot of these integrations continue to, get added to the list and more ecosystems get kind of tied together via ICP. I do think at some point we will probably see a critical mass in which it just becomes the better, more seamless, more usable option. Now, of course, it does have to be more seamless, more usable, a lot of that type of thing. But in my opinion, from what we've seen from internet identity and how very easy it is to get set up and use on a recurring basis, it's a really, really cool product. And so with this kind of internet identity and the cross-chain, all this type of stuff, I do think that there is some major kind of progress, or there is some major kind of upside there as more and more chains continue to get interoperated with each other, which I think is really cool. Now, the other thing, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I wanted to show you about is some of the projects that are getting highlighted of like really being, kind of utilizing the ICP for breakthrough achievements with various things. So first off, you can see here, this is a thread of 6 different projects, or I guess technically 5 different projects. You can see here the first one is Plug Wallet. Here you can see, have you ever sent assets to the wrong chain? Plug Wallet's newly launched Plug Book promises to help eliminate that problem. While you're at it, what do you think of their cross-chain EVM, ETH, and SolSwap process? Now, of course, you can see here, they're looking to utilize ICP and essentially just have a username. And since ICP is directly integrated with all these different chains, when you get something sent to you, it doesn't really matter what chain it's on because ICP directly integrates with them. There is kind of some of that kind of account abstraction going on here at the actual kind of like level, the chain level here, which I think is actually really cool. We obviously have seen other things utilizing chain key cryptography, but this going at a protocol level I think is cool, and it will allow for these usernames similar to like the ETH usernames, but applicable anywhere and everywhere, which I do think is cool. This type of thing is one of the major improvements that we need to see happening within crypto, because the thought of sending assets to the wrong chain and them essentially being gone forever like really sucks. That's something that I don't think anybody is really interested in having be a problem that they need to worry about. And so with a lot of this account abstraction and some of the chain integrations together, I think really helps with a ton of this stuff. So if we go on ahead and we move along, you'll see after unveiling Crypto Check, a transformative payment instrument on ICP that delivers automatic AML compliance. ZCloak network continues to power their run by partnering with Arc of Panda, Trade Talent AI, D-Agent AI, Moonmace AI, and others, all in the past few weeks. And then, of course, you can see the announcement here. So again, crypto check, this is essentially like an automatic AML compliance run through the Internet Computer Protocol, which is really cool. The next one here, you can see powered by ICP's seemingly infinite scalability, Liquidiumfi, developed by Liquidium.wtf, which you already know and love, will enable seamless cross-chain yield generation through a single unified account. Sign up for the waitlist to be one of the first to try it out. Now, again, for those of you who have used Liquidium, you probably are familiar, but Liquidium is a lending protocol that allows you to lend cross-chain. And a lot of these different lending protocols do such a thing, but you have to make sure that your assets are on the right chain and that you're lending in the right thing, all of that type of stuff. Well, Liquidium is again leveraging ICP's integration with many of these different chains to just do it all natively kind of within the smart contract, and you don't have to worry about bridging here and staking here and unstaking and doing all this different thing. Liquidium is essentially using ICP as kind of the layer over everything else to kind of send the funds where it's needed in an automatic way, which I think is very, very cool. Now, next up, you'll see here Juno Build. It is a serverless platform that empowers developers to self-host modern apps with ICP's privacy and control at the core. It recently got a UI upgrade, so you can, it's making things a little bit easier for people to use. One thing that I will kind of note as kind of being maybe the devil's advocate here, I have noticed that many things created by Caffeine AI don't have the best kind of UI there. And so I think, having a lot of these kind of generative UI upgrades is actually really, really good to see. A lot of what we're seeing right now is kind of the V1s, the V2s, the MVPs, these types of things. And we're not actually seeing, kind of the polished version come out. And so as a lot of these sites kind of find their product market fit, they can actually update the UI and all of this type of stuff as it makes sense, which I obviously think makes a ton of sense there as well. So, and then here you can see there's a nice video wrap up of these eventful past days in the internet computer ecosystem. So there is a quick video here if you are interested and you want to keep up with it. So overall, those are kind of the main projects that Dfinity themselves had highlighted, which I do think is pretty cool. And it shows you all of the things that are happening within the internet computer protocol. Now, if we go ahead and we just take a quick overview on price, you will see here things are actually looking pretty decent in the crypto ecosystem today. Definitely a green day. However, we are seeing some reds, ICP unfortunately actually being one of them. But ICP, basically, we're still just seeing retrace from that major pump, and I would say very uncharacteristic pump that it did have. When that pump happened, it really didn't make a whole lot of sense for something like this to happen. And so now we're essentially just retracing, trying to find essentially how low it's going to go. We have started to find, maybe a little bit of support in this $3.60 range. However, we might have been finding some support in the $4 range too and continued to bleed. So there is that possibility that we continue to drop lower and lower. Again, we did see lows down in the high twos prior to this kind of previous pump from ICP. So this is something that I would also just be watching very closely, is how far do we retrace? Do we retrace even lower? It's hard to say for sure. Now, of course, the price action here does not inspire confidence. I'll be the first to admit that, just because of kind of the level at which we pulled back. If we would have kind of held the bottom here at kind of the high $4 range and started kind of chopping around in this zone that we'd been in for the months prior, I'd be feeling very, very good about where we're at. Even if we were able to kind of get back, do this retrace, bounce back above here and consolidate in this region, I'd be feeling absolutely fantastic. But that, of course, is not the case. We are sitting at a much lower level, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the price action is definitely not as strong as what we would expect. However, as long as we continue to see these types of things happen and the progress being made within the ICP ecosystem towards kind of the larger goal, price continues to mean less to me overall. I know there's a ton of people in the comments that that's all they can think about and all they care about, which is totally fine. Obviously, everybody has different kind of priorities for their trading and their strategies that they are looking for. So obviously, if you're one of those people, you can of course make your own decision. That is what you should be doing anyway, because I'm not a financial advisor, and you need to be taking responsibility for your own money in the crypto ecosystem. So I personally, though, just because I do kind of believe in the idea of ICP a bit longer term, I'm not as worried about some of these short-term price movements and things like that. Honestly, much of this move to the upside did seem to be somewhat manufactured anyway, just given the like strange time that it happened and seemingly not a whole ton of news kind of involved with it anyway. Oh, anyway, that's kind of neither here nor there, but that hopefully was a valuable update for you today. If it was, of course, please feel free to give a like and a subscribe. It does help massively. Also, if you are looking to DCA into ICP, start trying to do some short-term trading or things like that while we're in these kind of choppy markets, feel free to use any of my affiliate links in the description below. BTCC is still doing that 10% bonus on first-time deposits, which is a really, really good deal. And here in the next couple of days, they are actually going to be renewing that 500 USDT giveaway as well. So if you're interested, of course, feel free to stay tuned for that as well, because that is a really, really nice giveaway that they are doing. So overall, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.